This one is called Robotnik's Pyramid Scheme, and finally, I can get financial advice from the richest man on Mobius. What man builds up entire armies of machines in an afternoon that costs money? We begin the episode where the last episode ended, with Robotnik, Scratch, and Grinder running away from an angry lion. There's continuity, serialization, in My Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog? It's so beautiful. Robotnik is sentenced to death by his ancestor, after which he and the robots run to the time machine to escape. They successfully do so, with Robotnik telling the robots that he is after the Chaos Emerald of Immortality this time. It makes him stop aging. Still neat, but kind of lame compared to the last two for the sake of a TV show. Meanwhile, Tails is at the beach with Sonic, and Sonic is being horny. Yes, they did the same gimmick 3 episodes in a row. It's a safe bet that they'll do it 4 episodes in a row too. Professor Keenstein comes after Sonic comes out of the ocean to tell him about the situation with Robotnik. I'd be more upset about this, but it feels like these scenes are similar on purpose, in a similar vein to what Phineas and Ferb episodes do, if that makes any sense. This time, he says the Sonic's family tree is disappearing, and yes, this did come out back during the Back to the Future craze. How could you tell? There's no time travel shoes this time, with this neato surfboard acting as their time machine instead. We see Robotnik's crew finally arrive in ancient Mo Egypt. Yes, that's what they call it in the show. Predictably, they are searching for one of Sonic's ancestors, which in hindsight, they really should have started with that, but better late than never. It doesn't take long to find him, named Mesonic the Hedgehog. Robotnik wants to keep Mesonic from meeting his future partner, Penelope, because, well, it's a Back to the Future ripoff, you know why. And conveniently, Robotnik managed to travel to the exact day the first two met, so he orders Scratch and Grinder to stop said meeting, which they do by dressing Scratch up as a woman to seduce Mesonic away from the chili dog stand that she works at. Why are you doing this, Scratch? You made a much more convincing woman out of your hand in the first episode. Big surprise, it doesn't work. Mesonic isn't interested, so they resort to abducting him instead, which may have worked, but Sonic and Tails arrive, and conveniently on the same date and time, to stop them. You already know they lose. Robotnik isn't even given half a decent chance to fight. Sonic and Tails decide to celebrate their unearned victory by buying chili dogs and... There must be an episode mandate of cramming this awful catchphrase in X% of episodes, I swear. For once though, his horrible catchphrase has consequences, as Mesonic gets tired of waiting on his descendant, so he goes elsewhere, sealing Sonic's fate, remember? Back to the Future ripoff? So Sonic doesn't exist anymore, officially making this the best episode ever. Move over, Robotnik Express! Robotnik is very happy about this, despite the fact that by time travel rules, he shouldn't remember who or what Sonic is, nor should he even be in Moby Egypt. That applies to Tails too, of course, but he's still here and abducts Mesonic to drag him over to Penelope. Okay, so when Robotnik abducts someone, it's bad, but when Tails does it, it's the best thing ever. I'm over this show's double standards. Unfortunately for everyone, Sonic exists again, so get back up to the top of the tier list, Robotnik Express. Robotnik is threatening the local pharaoh to know where the Emerald of Immortality is buried, but he won't talk, so he just takes the headdress and calls himself Pharaoh. I didn't realize being royalty was all in the headwear, but between the last couple of episodes, that seems to be the case. Sonic comes to ruin Pharaoh Robotnik's day, and doesn't keep his existence a secret, which would have been very helpful, but he's got rocks for brains, so what do? You get captured by the guards, that's what. Hey, entrapment scene, it's nice to see you've come back. Sonic, Tails, and Mesonic are all reduced to slave status, with them being tasked on building monuments of Robotnik, a task estimated by Mesonic to take from 20 to 30 years, and Sonic somehow still exists. This show can't even stay consistent with its own rules within the same episode. They did the same thing last time with the needing to be king to be invincible nonsense. Pharaoh Robotnik learns that the Chaos Emerald of Immortality is buried with his own ancestor, Robotnik I. Why is it buried with his ancestor when the emerald should have kept him from dying is anyone's guess. Penelope overhears this, so she goes to tell Sonic and Co. right away. Sonic responds by creating another time paradox. He's really good at that. Sonic saws himself and the others out and races off with everyone to go get the emerald. He catches up to Pharaoh Robotnik, and after a lame pissing competition, Pharaoh Robotnik gets to the tomb first, though Sonic is close behind, and what did they do to poor Penelope? The tomb is neat, has a lot in common with Marble Zone, which I'm sure was the intention. Pharaoh Robotnik's team reaches the door here, which is a blatant special stage reference. Go down a long chute, grabbing enough gold rings along the way to proceed. Yeah, I see you, show. Oh, don't worry about them, they get enough rings. Eventually. The chute leads directly to the burial chamber of Robotnik I, and he has the Chaos Emerald around his neck as a necklace. Again I ask, why not just use the emerald while he was alive? Well, I get my answer as soon as Sonic shows up, as Robotnik sits up and curses Sonic. I like him already. Sonic tries to fight but fails miserably, eventually landing on a hedgehog-shaped chamber. It opens and... I've been waiting! No, you only get 2 of those per episode, you're lucky you're allowed 1. Robotnik resorts to stealing Robotnik Hotep's emerald, which he is weirdly grateful for, saying he didn't want to be chased by a hedgehog for 5,000 years, which, yikes, yeah, that's fair. The hedgehog gives Sonic his emerald, which doesn't seem to be one of the 4 that we're after, but it does create a shield that can bypass Robotnik's immortality. Begs the question of why he didn't just defeat Robotnik Hotep the first time. The fight ends pretty quickly after, with Sonic tying up Pharaoh Robotnik's team and sending them off into space-time again. Because that worked out great last time. Robotnik is sent to the middle of a war with biplanes. Mobius' version of World War I, if I had to guess. The original Pharaoh marries off Sonic and Penelope. Sonic goes with Tails to leave, but first, does the exact same gag he did way back when. Remember that? Yeah, it's the same bit. It looks a little better before. This episode ends with another ripoff of the episode, with the statue being alive. Don't ask. The Sonic says it's about skateboard safety. Okay, sure. Not relevant in the slightest, but whatever. But you already know I'm not a fan of this one. If anything, it makes me feel as though I treated the last episode too harshly, because yikes, this one's bad. The setting isn't even original this time, with it being reused from a prior episode. The plot is blatantly recycling elements from other better series, again, Back to the Future, and do I even need to mention how stupid everyone is? It's par for the course for most episodes, sadly. New bottom of the list. This one has nothing good in its favor at all. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and have a good one. Bye-bye.